Ukrainian sources report that the Ukrainian military political leadership has set a new task for the Ukrainian Armed Forces to capture Russian regions. This task is as follows: to hold the border territory of the Kursk and Belgorod regions until at least the end of April, and at most until the period following May the 9th. What are these dates determined by? The first is related to Trump's promises to achieve peace within 100 days of his presidency. Trump's first presidential 100 days expire on April the 30th. Russian media says that Ukraine wants to ensure that if some agreement is actually signed by that time, it could be declared that it was not the Russian army that drove the Ukrainian armed forces out of the Kursk and Belgorod regions, but that they themselves left there. Even though at the moment we are talking about a total of approximately 24 square kilometers of territory in the two regions. The second date is, of course, connected with the 80th anniversary of the Soviet Union's victory in the Great Patriotic War. And on that day, a military parade will be held in Moscow, attended by leaders of a number of foreign states, including the leader of NATO and EU member Slovakia. Russian media says that Zelensky's team, which is trying to organize a get-together in Kiev with actual proof of ignoring the results of World War II and the decisions of the Nuremberg Tribunal, will organize a PR campaign on that day on the fact that the Ukrainian armed forces are still present on the recognized territory of the Russian Federation. The fighting is taking place within the boundaries of the settlements of Gonal and Oleshnya in the Kursk region. In Gonal, the Ukrainian armed forces are trying to hold on to the heights that run along the northern bank of the Psel River. Ukraine fully controls any of these villages. Recently, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said for the first time that Ukrainian forces are operating in the southwestern Russia's Belgorod region. Belgorod, which borders Ukraine, is regularly targeted by Ukrainian airstrikes and lies near Russia's Kursk region, where Kyiv launched a surprise incursion last year and has since fought to maintain a foothold. It is the first time since Russia's full-scale invasion more than 3 years ago that Zelensky has explicitly acknowledged Ukrainian operations in Belgorod, a region with a population of about 1.5 million.
The 14th Chervona Kalina Brigade of Ukraine's National Guard has repelled a Russian offensive near Pokrovsk in Donetsk Oblast on April 17, President Volodymyr Zelensky said. According to Zelensky, Ukrainian forces killed around 200 Russian soldiers and injured 30 others, as well as destroyed 115 units of Russian military equipment. There has been a notable slowdown in Russia's offensive operations after months of steady territorial gains across eastern Ukraine. In recent weeks, Ukrainian forces have liberated approximately 16 square kilometers of territory near Pokrovsk, Commander-in-Chief Oleksandr Syrsky said on April 17. The massive attack near Pokrovsk involved Russian armored combat vehicles and motorcycles, as well as about 2 companies, National Guard Commander Alexander Pivnenko said earlier in the day, sharing footage showing the assault. This battle is yet another proof of the coordinated and professional actions of our defenders who are holding the front line, the commander said. The fighters of Chervona Kalina act clearly and ruthlessly, defending every piece of their native land, the statement reads. Pivnenko said the Kremlin committed a large force to the attack, including armored combat vehicles, motorcycles, and about 2 companies of infantry. He captioned the second video, a few more shots of the enemy's biker assault on the Pokrovsk sector. Pivnenko said Russian losses are expected to be even higher after further assessments. Mykola Koval, head of communications for the 14th Brigade, told Suspilne Donbass outlet that this was one of the largest assaults seen in this sector recently. Junior Sergeant Stanislav Bunyatov of the 24th Adar Assault Battalion commented on the attack via Telegram, calling it a fierce move. He said that mass assaults using two-wheeled disposable stormtroopers create unique challenges. The focus of attention gets scattered, the risk of breakthrough rises, artillery becomes less effective, and FPV drones without optics face limitations, he wrote. Bunyatov praised the defenders, saying it is many times more difficult to repel this kind of assault compared to traditional attacks.
Ukrainian forces from the Skala 425th Separate Assault Regiment are defending the settlement of Pishchany, located near Pokrovsk, as Russian troops attempt to seize control of a local mining complex. Militani reports. According to video footage the regiment's press service released, Russian forces continue efforts to concentrate in the area of the Pishchany mine, a sprawling facility with reinforced structures that could provide cover from Ukrainian artillery and drones. The site is seen as a potential staging ground for further assaults on Pokrovsk's outskirts. The IFVs delivered Ukrainian infantry close to Russian positions, leading to direct clashes. After the landing, direct fire contact took place, Militani says. Ukrainian troops forced Russian forces out of one of the mine's hangars, disrupting their ability to reinforce. Russian units have since attempted to reclaim the position, operating in small groups and using underground passages and rooftops to flank Ukrainian defenses. Despite persistent attacks, the regiment reports that the coordinated use of infantry and drones has prevented Russian forces from consolidating their presence. Fighting in the area remains ongoing. The Pishchany offensive follows intense clashes in the nearby settlement of Shevchenko. Ukrainian officials reported that since March, Russian forces have suffered over 1,100 casualties in that sector. Militani reports. After Russian troops captured Shevchenko, enabling them to approach Pokrovsk, Ukrainian forces launched an assault on March the 3rd. Skala Regiment tanks targeted Russian positions, followed by reconnaissance teams on ATVs who cleared mines to allow access to heavier armor, IFVs and tanks. Active combat operations to liberate the settlement started at this moment. The operation to regain Shevchenko lasted 6 days, with the fiercest fighting centered around key defensive positions in two-story buildings, a school, and a cultural center. The enemy had set up the main defense unit in these buildings, Militani reports. Ukrainian forces secured most of the settlement by March the 9th, after which reinforcement groups were deployed. Russian counterattacks have continued since then and remain ongoing. Earlier, a strategically important coal mine in the village of Pishchany, near the city of Pokrovsk in Donetsk Oblast, has been blown up to prevent Russian forces from using it to covertly move troops. Miners told reporters that the entrance to mine number 3 had become too dangerous due to continuous Russian bombardment. Located closest to the front, the entrance is in the village of Pishchany. Therefore, in early December 2024, the miners began to be lowered through a different entrance, which made the descent take much longer, about 2 hours. To return, the miners used conveyor belts that transported the coal they had just mined. Russian attacks sometimes disrupted the power supply and ventilation systems, forcing miners to evacuate. However, keeping the mine operational for as long as possible was crucial for the Ukrainian economy, as it supplied Ukrainian steelmakers with the necessary grade of coal.